I had an accident in 2012. And from that point on, I had never really hurt myself or injured myself. And I had seen a lot of doctors. And one of my main doctors, kind of overseeing a lot of my progress or not so much progress, was my primary care physician. And his wife had actually heard of the PRC program. And so when I finally came to him, almost a full year of trying everything under the sun to help my pain, he suggested the PRC program. I remember walking away with tears in my eyes of excitement, definitely not being apprehensive. I was just very ready for a change. Before going to PRC, I was not very physically active. I was a lot of times would cancel social events, would not want to go to work, would not want to really get out of bed. I remember many days where I would come home from work and immediately just go lay down. And it was to the point where even my supervisors would notice, okay, today's not a good day. Why don't you go ahead and go home? Or my husband would know, okay, well, I'm going to go to this event by myself, or I'll go eat dinner with your parents and you can stay at home. After PRC, it took a while to just adjust from the 15 days to coming back to reality with everything I learned. But I would say after about month 2 and 3, I was a totally different person. I was excited to wake up in the morning. I was excited to do my exercises. I was excited to move. I was grateful that I could move. And I was back to being very social. I even changed jobs. I realized through that time that the current job I was in didn't really fit who I was coming out of PRC. And so I got a wonderful new job, and I actually stayed there for 7 years after, and really was just back to being my old self. So, one of the main challenges for me was simply the effects of deciding and making the decision to stop taking all the medicine I was taking. Before I entered PRC, that was one of the biggest things that I knew I wanted to give up because I could just tell it was affecting all different parts of my body, my fogginess. I tested positive for being anemic. And so I could just tell that that was wearing me down, but at the same time, somewhat helping me. So through PRC and my relationship with the nurses and doctors, I was able to stop taking those meds. However, it did make the next few days of being in the program a little rough. But it was being in a very supportive space that made it okay. That would check in on me, didn't draw attention to the fact that I wasn't feeling good, in my classes, but I could, follow up with them outside, as well as call them at night if I was struggling. And really, it was just a few days, and I really felt like a different person, I think halfway through the program because I made that choice to do that. Fortunately, I had and still have a really wonderful support system. So I did not have any challenges after the program. I think my attitude going into the program was so positive, and I was really at the point where, okay, this has to work, and this has to be it, to where when I got out of the program, I was just going to follow the plan. And I knew that I felt so great by day 15 that I was going to ensure that the days after were really good. My parents, my in-laws, I even sent our booklets to my friends. They came to the sessions where you include your friends and family. So they understood. They understood that it would take time. They understood even now when we travel, okay, I need a break, or I need to go back to the hotel, or I'm just really exhausted and I can't go to this event. And there's not that sort of like questioning or the sympathy that I got before the program about why I may not be doing things. I am a planner, so the PRC lifestyle came very easy to me. And I really enjoyed the structure. Even to this day, I still have time set into my schedule. It's just kind of something that I'm always thinking of. I think even at this point, because I'm about 10 years out, that it's just sort of maybe that it has been so ingrained in me that, okay, here's 2 weeks, let's plan it out. Do you have breaks scheduled? How many days are you going to do walking? Do you have time in the morning to wake up and do your stretches? So for me, it was very much second nature, but then also I could see myself being harder on myself because I knew, okay, I have to make this work. But then also PRC teaches you, not to give yourself such a hard time if it doesn't. But very, very smooth for me afterwards, but also because of aftercare as well. I don't think I missed any aftercare my first year because I just knew I need to come here. Even talking to other people who were going through the same thing when they come out, it was really great to have that sort of support circle. The tools and strategies I found most helpful, number one is the stretches every morning. Still do those. Don't even need the worksheet anymore. Also, the scheduling. I think knowing, like, okay, I have a full day of yard work, but how am I going to handle that later if I also have an event that night? Even though I'm 10 years out and feeling so, wonderful, it is still that reminder of, like, even though I'm feeling so great, remember to still take a break, or remember to kind of manage my time. And it's just become so much more innate now. But I do attribute that to PRC and just having us do that those 15 days, and you realize just how important it is. And then also just moving, whether it's going to the gym or on a walk, any sort of that really does count. And I truly, believe that. I could not thank Mayo and the nurses and doctors at PRC for, really truly giving me my life back. I think about it very often of how horrible my, quality of life was 10 years ago. And I think my parents and husband would, 100% agree. I just wasn't the normal Courtney. And not that you're your old self when you come out of PRC, but it was just stronger, and I knew what I was capable of. I knew how to handle my pain if I was feeling it. And I just, it's night and day from before where I was. And so I just, I'm so grateful that my primary care doctor knew about the program. I've told other people about the program. And I just, I couldn't be more thankful for the experience, and kind of even the life tools it has helped me outside of, quote unquote pain. My husband and my parents were incredibly supportive of going into the program. I think also somewhat skeptical of my decision during the program to stop taking my medicine. But I think for them during the program, they understood by coming to the family and friends time that the nurses and doctors knew what they were doing. It was obviously my decision, and very supportive during that time. I think they even learned things that they could use, obviously, with me and interacting with me and supporting me, but then also in their lives as well. So after the program, my family and husband were definitely there for me. My mom wasn't so much a pillow fluffer. She was very strict with herself on what should she say, should she ask if I'm okay. I definitely know that she and my husband really leaned on each other so that way they could have conversation and she could, check in with him to see how I was doing without having to ask me the questions that, we're taught that we don't have to answer and we don't need to ask. And really now to where it is just, it's not a question, how are you feeling or why are you tired? It's just kind of, okay, Courtney needs her time. And, I think we're all just very ingrained in that this was sort of a subset of time. I came out okay, and if I do need them in that sort of way, then I know how to reach out, but it's not going to be that constant conversation. There's not that overwhelming conversation of pain. Even now, it's interesting if I'm in a conversation with someone and they are talking about pain, it is just like, I mean, not that I get the pain back anymore, but it is almost like red alarm. And I so want to pull the person aside and be like, you shouldn't do that because you might actually feel better if you don't. For current patients, my advice would be to keep going. I was at the point where I was so excited to be there that I don't think, if I had had larger challenges or more challenges than I originally had, I still think I would have just been, fully into the program. I ate everything up. But I also was at the point where I knew I was 100% ready to do whatever it took to get better. For those considering the program, I would say learn as much as you can, research the process, but then also come with an open mind because you're only going to get out of it what you put into it. And it is a big commitment, but I am a true example of that it does work, and that you can have a fully fulfilled life with the pain, coming out of a program that has been tried and true. I think the research shows, and you learn that in the program. So definitely have an open mind, positive view, which is hard once you're in there, and also to lean on the people that are there, not just the doctors and nurses, but the other people that are like you in that group. I still talk to a handful of people from my group, and it's just so different when you have something like that to bond you together. One of the, I think, most positive pieces I got out of PRC was the 14 other people that I was in a room with for 15 days. While they do come and go, because that's how the program's styled, I found myself many days, during my walks where I'm walking with folks that I would not know other than being in this program. And we're not talking about why we are there. We're talking about just our life or someone's child or my dogs, or what one of the physical therapists just had us do, and how tired we are. But we're not talking about why we're there. We're more just getting to know each other. And to me, that bond that you have even afterwards, even with people who aren't in my class, they're asking me at 10 years out, well, what did you do during this situation? And you're able to share that. And I truly believe, that peer-to-peer relationship is, they know, okay, well, you went through it and you're living it. That's kind of the best person to go to for advice or even support. And also because you can remind them like, okay, don't do those behaviors, or those are, that's not something we learned in PRC. And they don't take offense to that. It's just this learning process of, oh, okay, yes, thank you for the reminder. And you have those people to reach out to because of the situation that you are in with PRC.